Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever pondered the end of the world? Not just, any end, but one so cataclysmic that gods, giants, cosmic forces, they're all hurled into this epic, universe-shattering war.
Mhm.
And then, against all odds, everything rises again. From the ashes, but like fundamentally transformed.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're plunging into today. Ragnarök, the ultimate cosmic collapse and, well, astonishing rebirth in Norse mythology.
It's quite the story.
Our mission in this deep dive is to guide you, our listener, through the intricate and profoundly compelling narrative of Ragnarök. We've sifted through a wealth of sources to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights, offering you a direct path to being truly well-informed on this pivotal myth.
It's a shortcut, basically.
Exactly. And you'll find this isn't just some captivating ancient story, it's a profound philosophical concept, a deep meditation on existence, fate, and the very nature of renewal. We'll uncover insights that might genuinely surprise you.
And as we set the stage, it's crucial to understand that Ragnarok is indeed far more than just a simple battle. I mean, the term itself kind of whispers its deeper meaning.
Right.
Ragnarok. It literally means destiny of the gods. Ruk signifying fate or destiny.
Ah, okay, fate.
Yeah. So this isn't just an event. It's a fundamental concept. It defines the entire Norse mythological worldview, embracing not only that wholesale destruction, but quite crucially, also a profound and necessary sense of renewal.
So destruction and renewal, both parts are key.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate ending that always inevitably contains the promise of a new beginning. It's like a cosmic cycle unfolding right before our eyes. 1. Defining Ragnarok. More than just a battle.
Okay, so let's start with the basic definition we get from the sources. Ragnarok is described pretty clearly as the final battle of the gods.
That's the headline.
But the true beauty, the sheer depth of this myth, it really starts to reveal itself when we dig into the word itself, the etymology.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Ragna and Ruk. So the Old Norse word Ragna translates to gods, right?
Correct. The gods, the ruling powers.
And Ruk. You said fate, but it can also mean like end or destiny.
Exactly. It carries several layers of meaning. Fate, end, doom, destiny. It's quite packed.
So when you bring those two powerful words together, Ragnarok can be interpreted as the doom of the gods or maybe the end of the heroes.
That's right. Different shades of meaning, but all pointing towards something final and, well, fated for the divine.
Which tells you straight away, this isn't just a fight they might win or lose, it's an inescapable conclusion for everyone. Gods, mortals, everyone involved.
Precisely. And that's where the philosophical depth really comes into focus. This isn't merely a physical war, as you highlighted.
Right.
What's truly striking about Ragnarok is how it profoundly reflects a grand cosmic cycle and, the very nature of time itself within Norse philosophy.
So not just a one-off disaster.
No, not at all. It represents a final reckoning, a culmination of all the tensions, the grievances, the inevitable conflicts that have been building up for ages among the gods, the giants, those monsters, and yes, humanity too.
A kind of cosmic boiling point.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Think of it as the ultimate test, the final cleansing challenge that purges the old order to make absolute way for the new. In essence, it's the universe's most dramatic reset button,
Wow.
pressed with a rather cataclysmic force.
And the stakes. I mean, you can imagine they couldn't possibly be higher. Our sources really emphasize that the very structure, the established order, the entire future of the universe, it's all fundamentally altered after this conflict.
Completely rewritten.
It's not just about who wins or loses. It's about the fabric of reality being torn apart, dissolved, and then meticulously rewoven into something entirely new.
Yeah.
So it makes you ask, what kind of event, what caliber of cosmic collision could possibly have such sweeping, all-encompassing implications that actually redefine existence itself?
And that right there is the core question Ragnarok answers so powerfully. 2. The roots of Ragnarok. Historical and cultural soil. 500 BCE, 800 CE.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the power and resonance of Ragnarok, we kind of need to anchor it in its history, right? Its context.
Absolutely crucial. Like any myth, it didn't just spring out of nowhere.
So this myth, like so many ancient stories, was primarily passed down orally for centuries, generation to generation.
Lots of long winter nights telling stories.
Exactly. And it really started taking shape, evolving during the early Iron Age in those Scandinavian societies. We're talking a long stretch here, roughly 500 BCE up to 800 CE.
A huge time frame. over 1,000 years.
Which gave it plenty of time to deepen, change, and get woven right into the cultural fabric, reflecting their world as it changed.
And that societal backdrop is absolutely key to understanding why this myth resonated so much.
Okay.
Firstly, as you said, the lack of writing early on meant it lived in oral tradition. Imagine families huddled around the fire, elders recounting these stories. They weren't just entertainment, they were lessons, prophecies, ways to understand a harsh world.
So each retelling could adapt it slightly.
Probably. Absorbing the anxieties, the hopes, the realities of that specific time, it makes the myth incredibly integrated into daily life. A living narrative.
Makes sense. What else was going on?
Well, secondly, this whole era was one of massive societal transformation.
How so?
People were moving from small, maybe isolated tribes towards bigger, more complex political structures. The beginnings of kingdoms.
Oh, okay. Growing pains.
Big time. And with that comes conflict. Lots of it. Societal upheavals, wars between tribes, feuds. It definitely casts a shadow.
And that probably influenced a story about cosmic conflict.
It's a very common pattern, isn't it? Our myth often mirror our lives. If your world feels chaotic or threatened, you might project that onto the cosmos.
Okay, so societal change, conflict. What about the environment? Scandinavia is known for being, well, tough.
You can't ignore the environment. The sources mentioned significant climate changes, the start of what's sometimes called a little ice age. Colder, harsher, less predictable weather.
Oh, wow. Like Fimbulvetcher.
Exactly. Imagine the dread. Longer, colder winters, bad harvests, famine, maybe animals migrating differently. How would that not impact your view of the universe?
Yeah, deeply.
It's easy to see how real fears like starving in an endless winter could become prophecies of a world plunged into cold and darkness. Fimbulvetry, which we'll get into, feels like a direct reflection of that deep environmental anxiety.
Right. And finally, the beliefs themselves, the pagan gods.
Absolutely central. These gods weren't distant. They were deeply involved in explaining societal order, natural events, everything. The embodied forces, often tied to war, death, fertility.
So Ragnarok isn't just cosmic.
It's societal and cosmic,
Yeah.
both at once.
Yeah.
It reflects the potential collapse of the divine order, sure, but also the breakdown of human society and the natural world.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected. Total system collapse, mirroring the fragility they felt in their own lives. 3. The cosmic stage. Yggdrasil and the Nine Worlds.
All right, so before we dive headfirst into the chaos and the cataclysm of Ragnarok itself, we need to understand the stage, the setting for this cosmic drama.
The cosmic geography, yeah. Very important.
And at the absolute heart of it all is Yggdrasil, the world tree.
Mhm.
How should we picture this? It's an ash tree, right? But huge.
Immense doesn't even cover it. Try to picture a colossal sacred ash tree, so fundamental it literally holds the entire universe together. It's like the cosmic spine.
Wow.
Its roots go deep into the primal realms, branches stretch way up into the heavens, touching the halls of the gods. It connects everything. It is the connection.
The pulsating heart of existence.
Something like that. The vital force binding all the different realms.
And there are 9 of these realms, these worlds.
9 distinct worlds, yes.
Yeah.
Radiating out from Yggdrasil, all connected by its branches and roots. Each one is unique, a different facet of the Norse cosmos.
Okay, can you paint a picture of these? Maybe start at the top.
Sure. So way up high, you have Asgard. That's the glorious home of the main gods, the Aesir. Odin's place. Think divine order, wisdom, strength.
The god realm. Got it.
Then there's Midgard. That's us. The world of humans.
Yeah.
Often shown surrounded by a great ocean, kind of protected.
Their world. Okay.
Then, out in the wilder regions, you find Jotunheim, land of the giants. The Jötnar.
The bad guys. Or not really.
More like forces of nature, primal, chaotic, often representing the untamed elements like frost or mountains. They're perpetually clashing with the orderly Aesir gods.
Okay, giants. What else?
Well, you have the really elemental realms. Niflheim, super cold, ice, mist, associated with primordial cold and death.
Brr.
And its opposite, Muspelheim, the realm of fire, searing heat, embers. This is where the fire giants come from, including Surtur, who is very important later.
Fire and ice. Classic.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Then there's Vanaheim, home of the other group of gods, the Vanir. They're more about nature, fertility, wisdom, prophecy, a different flavor of divine power.
Like Frey and Freya.
Exactly.
Oh.
Then for lighter fare, Alfheim, the world of the light elves. Radiant, beautiful beings linked to inspiration, art.
Elves.
In underground, Svartalfheim, or sometimes called Nidavellir. This is the realm of the dwarves, the master crafters, forging amazing treasures and weapons down there in the dark.
The best blacksmiths.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And finally, Helheim, the realm of the dead, ruled by Loki's daughter, Hel. But it's specifically for those who die of, like old age or sickness, not warriors.
So kind of bleak.
Generally depicted as bleak, shadowy, yeah. A cold, maybe dreary place.
Okay, that's 9. Asgard, Midgard, Jotunheim, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Vanaheim, Alfheim, Svartalfheim, Helheim, all held together by Yggdrasil.
That's the structure.
And understanding this structure is vital because Ragnarok isn't just a battle somewhere. It shakes everything.
It violently disrupts the balance of all 9 worlds. The conflict isn't contained, it echoes everywhere.
And the sources really focus on the clash between Asgard, Jotunheim, and Midgard. Gods, giants, and humans.
Those are the main battlegrounds, yeah.
Yeah.
The very foundation of existence, Yggdrasil itself, is shaken to its core. The old order governing these realms for ages, it gets brutally challenged, leading to this unprecedented universal upheaval. 4. The unavoidable dawn. Signs and prophecies of Ragnarok.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a little chilling. The start of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It isn't sudden. It's not like a switch flips.
No, it builds, slowly, ominously.
It's foretold. There's this profound sense of inevitability built through prophecies, unmistakable signs that just keep escalating.
Right, it's like the universe itself starts to unravel long before the final battle.
Which really underscores that theme you mentioned earlier. Fate. Rock. It's inescapable, even for the gods.
Even for Odin. They see it coming, they know it's supposed to happen, but they're bound to face it.
So what are these signs? What should people or gods be looking out for?
Well, the signs are stark, terrifying, and they mark this progressive decay in every aspect of existence. The most famous one, the most iconic, is probably Fimbulvetra.
The Great Winter.
The Great Winter. And like we touched on, it's not just one bad winter, it's 3. 3 consecutive, brutal, relentless winters with no summer in between.
3 years of winter. Wow.
The rhythm of nature is thrown completely out of balance. The sun and moon are supposedly devoured by giant wolves, Skull and Hati.
Wait, wolves eat the sun and moon.
That's the prophecy, plunging the world into this perpetual freezing gloom. Imagine the silence, the cold, the desperation for food for 3 solid years. It sets an incredibly bleak stage.
Unimaginable. But it's not just the weather, right? Society breaks down, too.
Profoundly.
Yeah.
Especially among humans. During Fimbulvetter, the sources say hatred, strife, chaos just reign supreme.
Like morals collapse?
Completely. Family bonds dissolve, people turn on each other brutally, greed, despair, violence take over.
Yeah.
Humanity basically embarks on this path of self-destruction.
Grim, so the human world is falling apart.
Mirroring the cosmic decay that's coming. There's a deep moral and social breakdown.
And then the cosmos itself starts acting up, physically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not just metaphor. Nature itself breaks down spectacularly. The seas boil and churn. Boil. Steam rising. The earth shakes violently. Massive earthquakes tear landscapes apart, topple mountains. This cosmic upheaval isn't just a sign. It's like the drumbeat of the coming war. The crescendo before the final act.
Okay. Boiling seas, earthquakes, endless winter. What else? Is there a final trigger?
There is. A critical, pivotal trigger.
Yeah.
Loki's escape.
Ah, Loki. He was chained up.
Yes. His punishment for his role in Baldur's death, among other things. He finally breaks free. And his release isn't just, him getting out of jail.
No.
It's monumental. He immediately joins forces with the giants, becomes this powerful, cunning, incredibly dangerous leader for the forces of chaos. His escape is the spark that ignites the final conflict.
The ultimate catalyst.
Exactly. Sets the stage for that ultimate confrontation between order and chaos.
So all these signs together, what's the core message?
It underscores that inescapable nature of fate, of Rook. It's this profound exploration of dignity in the face of predestination. Even the gods, with all their power and foresight, cannot prevent this. Their destiny is set. They know their roles, they know their end, yet they prepare to face it with courage and honor.
So heroism isn't changing fate.
That's how you face it, how you meet your end. That's the powerful statement here. 5. The players. Gods, giants, and monsters of the last battle.
Okay, so the signs are all there. The cataclysm is unavoidable. What does this mean for the lineup? Who are the key players in this ultimate showdown?
Yeah, it's not just anonymous forces clashing. It's deeply personal, tragic struggles between specific famous characters. Each one has a role, a fate, often a specific opponent.
A cosmic destiny dance card?
Yeah, something like that. The roster is a veritable who's who of Norse mythology, and their fates are all tangled up.
Right, let's break it down. Who's fighting for the gods? The Aesir and Vanir side.
Okay, on the side of order, the gods. First, Odin, the All-Father, god of wisdom, war, death. Sacrifice an eye for knowledge, right? He's the leader.
The big boss.
But even he can't escape his fate. He's prophesied to be swallowed whole by the giant wolf, Fenrir.
Swallowed. Wow. That's bleak.
It's a massive blow.
Yeah.
Symbolizes the fall of the supreme deity.
Okay, who else? Thor's got to be there.
Absolutely.
What?
Thor, god of strength, thunder, protector of Midgard, got his hammer, Mjolnir,
It's destiny.
a fatal final duel with his arch nemesis, the world serpent, Jormungandr,
A giant snake.
the colossal one encircling the world. Thor will kill the serpent, but he'll die from its venom right after.
Yeah.
Takes 9 steps and collapses.
A tragic victory.
Very much so. Then there's Frey, from the Vanir gods. God of fertility, prosperity, peace.
A good guy.
Definitely. But he's at a disadvantage. He gave away his magic sword, one that fought by itself for love earlier on.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So he fights bravely, but weaponless, and is killed by the fire giant Surtur. A sad end for a god of peace.
Okay, who else for the gods?
Tyr, god of war and justice. Famous for losing his hand to Fenrir when they first chained the wolf.
Right, the sacrifice.
At Ragnarök, he faces the giant hound Garmr, Helheim's guard dog. They kill each other. Mutual destruction. Then Heimdall, the watchman on the Bifrost Bridge, blows the Jallarhorn to announce Ragnarok's start.
What's the fate?
Also mutual destruction, but with Loki, his nemesis, charged with deep personal history there.
And Loki himself. He fights.
Oh yes, Loki, god of trickery, chaos, Odin's blood brother, but the ultimate antagonist here. Fights with the giants, leads the forces of chaos.
And dies fighting Heimdall.
Exactly. Their final, brutal end.
Okay, so that's the god side, mostly tragic fates. What about the opposition? The giants, the Jötnar, the monsters.
A formidable lineup embodying primal destruction. First, Fenrir, the monstrous wolf, Loki's son, now unbound. Pure, destructive power. Grows so huge, his jaws stretch from earth to sky.
And his role, Odin.
Devouring Odin. Fulfilling that dreadful prophecy Odin himself knew for ages.
Chilling. Then the serpent.
Jormungandr, the world serpent, also Loki's kid, coils around Midgard, Thor's nemesis. Their fight shakes the world, ends with Thor's death from venom.
And the fire giant, Surtur.
Surtur, from Muspelheim, the fire realm, carries a flaming sword, brighter than the sun.
And his role is devastating.
Arguably the most devastating. He's the one who sets the entire world ablaze, consumes everything in fire. Total destruction.
Wow. So, looking at all these matchups, Odin versus Fenrir, Thor versus Jormungandr, Heimdall versus Loki, Tyr versus Garmr, Frey versus Surtur.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Each major figure has a preordained role, a specific opponent. It's not random chaos. It's like a meticulously choreographed, fated tragedy.
Highlighting that inescapable destiny again.
Exactly. Everyone plays their part, knowing their end, facing it with courage. It's a profound statement on heroism, not in winning, but in how you face the inevitable. Dignity and defiance. 6. The course of the war and its devastating aftermath.
So the prophecies culminate, the signs are all there, Ragnarok explode. It's not just duels, right? It's universal destruction.
Universal is the right word. A cataclysm consuming everything. Yggdrasil, the world tree, groans and shudders. Chaos erupts across all 9 realms.
Gods and giants clash everywhere.
In a final, all-encompassing war, it spares no one, touches everything. The scale is unimaginable. Reality itself is torn apart, melted down. The course of the war is this tragic, inevitable slide into annihilation, marked by those key confrontations we talked about.
Starting with Odin.
Starting with Odin, leading the gods onto the battle plane. Vigrir, he's swallowed by Fenrir. A shocking blow. The fall of the supreme god. The old order collapsing right there.
Just gone. And then Thor.
The epic clash with Jormungandr. Furious battle, thunder, venom. Thor does kill the serpent. Victory. But the serpent's venom is too potent. Thor takes 9 steps, collapses dead. A bitter, Pyrrhic victory shows the devastating cost.
And Freyr, the god of peace.
Faces Surtur, the fire giant. Remember, Freyr's weaponless.
Right, the sword he gave away.
Proves fatal. He's killed by Surtur's flaming sword. A poignant end signifying the end of bounty, peace.
And Loki and Heimdall.
Their mutual death struggle. Chaos versus order. Settling scores. Neither wins. They kill each other, fulfilling their shared fate.
So many key figures falling.
And as they fall, as existence trembles, Surtur unleashes the final act.
The fire.
Brings forth his blazing sword from Muspelheim, brighter than the sun, and sets the entire world ablaze. Forests, mountains, cities, even the gods' halls in Asgard. Everything burns.
Total inferno.
And after the fire, the world sinks beneath the waves, submerged by water. A vast, desolate ocean covers the burned remnants. Total erasure, a cosmic reset. This universal destruction signifies the complete end of the old world order. All hierarchies, structures gone.
Not the end.
And this is the crucial insight of Ragnarok. This cataclysm simultaneously prepares the ground for new beginning. It's not just cessation, it's purification. A violent clearing of the slate, brutal but essential for what comes next. 7. Rebirth and the cyclical understanding of time.
Okay, but wait. It's not truly the end, is it? That's what's so powerful. After all that world burned, swallowed by the sea, is that it?
No, and that's the amazing part. The enduring power isn't just the destruction, it's the profound message of renewal.
Destruction and rebirth.
Exactly. It's a cornerstone of the Norse worldview, this cyclical nature of time. Not linear, like we often think.
So what happens after the flood?
The waters recede, eventually, and a brand new world emerges from the depths.
What's it like?
Peaceful, fertile, incredibly green and vibrant. A stark contrast to the old, chaotic world. A pristine, fresh start.
And people survive. Gods.
Critically, yes. Not everything perishes. Some gods are prophesied to survive or return, most notably Balder.
The god of light, who was killed before Ragnarok.
Yes, killed through Loki's tricks. He and his blind brother Hoder, who actually threw the mistletoe, they returned from Helheim.
Wow. That's huge symbolism.
Huge. Healing, reconciliation, innocence restored to the divine. Other gods survive too. Odin's son Vidar, who kills Fenrir.
Avenges his father.
Right. And Thor's sons, Magni and Modi. They carry on the legacy. Maybe even Thor's hammer, Mjolnir.
So the divine continues in a new form. What about humans?
Humanity also endures, remarkably. 2 humans, Lif and Lifthrasir.
Their names mean life and life-longing.
Exactly. They survive by hiding. Deep within Yggdrasil's branches, some say, or in a hidden grove called Hodmimus Holt, protected from the fire and flood.
A sanctuary.
A sanctuary.
Yeah.
And from these 2 resilient individuals, a new generation of humanity emerges. They repopulate the peaceful new world, unburdened by the past.
Ancestors of a new race.
Yeah, so this rebirth, after total destruction, is paramount. It symbolizes that continuous loop of destruction and creation.
The cyclical time idea again?
Very much so, a stark contrast to linear time where an end is final. For the Norse, the end is always tangled up with a new beginning, like seasons changing, or a forest regrowing after fire.
So there's always renewal.
Always, even after ultimate ruin. It's a kind of radical cosmic optimism, really. Hey. The deeper meanings of Ragnarok: myth, philosophy, and culture.
So as we've gone through this incredible story, it's clear Ragnarok isn't just, an exciting disaster movie plot.
No, definitely not.
It's way more profound. It's an existential theme, a deep philosophical idea woven into the mythology with insights that still hit home today.
Absolutely. It's a mirror reflecting fundamental human concerns. When you unpack it, several core messages emerge.
Okay, like what are the big takeaways?
Firstly, and maybe the most striking, is fate and inevitability. We keep coming back to this.
Right, even the gods can't escape it.
Exactly. They have immense power, wisdom, but their destinies are fixed. They know they'll die, who they'll fight, yet they march forward.
Which raises that question about free will versus destiny.
It really does. Is agency just an illusion if the end is set? Or is the heroism in how you face that fixed end? With courage, honor, defiance? The myth suggests the latter, heroism in facing doom knowingly.
Okay, fate. What else?
Secondly, the relationship between nature and humanity. The signs from Bulverae, boiling seas, earthquakes show a world deeply connected to and maybe at the mercy of cosmic forces.
Highlighting conflict, but also harmony.
Both. And our vulnerability. The world's destruction is a stark reminder of nature's power and the fragile environmental balance. Feels pretty relevant today, doesn't it?
Yeah, depressingly so.
Okay,
third point.
Third, that cyclical nature of time. This is so central. Ragnarok isn't the end. It's a point in an endless loop of destruction and rebirth.
Unlike, say, a linear view with one final end.
Precisely. In the Norse view, time's a wheel, always turning. Ragnarok is vital for renewal after purification. It teaches that even in ruin, there's an inherent promise of new life. Imagine how that belief might help a culture face hardship, seeing it as part of a larger, ultimately beneficial cycle.
A cosmic optimism. Okay, and finally.
Finally, heroism and sacrifice. The gods' courage is inspiring. Knowing they'll fall, they don't flee or despair. They fight valiantly, fulfilling their roles with honor.
Facing the inevitable with bravery.
Their ultimate sacrifice is key. It asks, what's worth fighting for even if you know you'll lose? It's about dignity in the act itself.
So putting it all together.
Ragnarok isn't just an old story. It provides these profound answers to fundamental questions about purpose, existence, the end of things. It's a framework for understanding chaos, loss, and finding hope in renewal. 9. The written legacy. Sources and literature of Ragnarok.
Okay, so these incredible stories, so much detail, meaning vivid imagery, where do we actually get all this from? How did these oral traditions get written down?
Excellent question. It mainly comes down to two crucial collections, both from Iceland, which became this amazing repository for Norse myths.
Iceland, okay. What are they?
The Eddas. First, the Poetic Edda, sometimes called the Elder Edda. It's a collection of anonymous Old Norse poems,
Mm.
compiled maybe in the 13th century from much older oral sources.
So the original poems?
Pretty much. You find some of the most vivid, raw accounts of Ragnarok here, especially in a poem called Voluspa, the Cirrus's Prophecy.
What's that one about?
It lays out the whole cosmic story: creation, golden age, decay, destruction and Ragnarok, and the rebirth. Details the signs, the battles, the fates. It's foundational. Stark, unforgettable stuff. The ancient voice.
Wow. Okay, that's the Poetic Edda. What's the other one?
The Prose Edda. This one written by a specific person, Snorri Sturluson.
Snorri Sturluson. Heard that name.
Yeah. Brilliant Icelandic chieftain, poet, historian around 1220 CE. His Edda wasn't just collecting stories. It was meant as a kind of textbook.
A textbook for what?
For aspiring poets, skalds, they needed to understand the myths to write their own poetry. So Snorri retells many Eddic stories in prose, more systematically, explains things, gives names, genealogies.
Making it more accessible.
Exactly. He provides context that might have been assumed knowledge before.
Yeah.
His work is invaluable for stitching the whole mythological tapestry together, including a very full account of Ragnarok.
So, mainly the two Eddas. Anything else?
There are other bits and pieces.
Mm.
Saga literature, those long Icelandic prose narratives about history, sometimes allude to myths or figures. And you might find hints in runic inscriptions on stones or weapons.
Just whispers, maybe.
Whispers and fragments, yeah. But it's overwhelmingly the Eddas that give us the deep well of information to understand Ragnarok in its full, terrifying, majestic scope. 10. Ragnarok in a global context. Comparative mythology.
What's really fascinating, though, is that this whole idea of a world's end, this huge cataclysm followed by renewal, it's not just Norse, is it?
Not at all. It seems to be a remarkably universal theme, woven into mythologies all over the world throughout history.
It speaks to something fundamental in us about cycles, endings, beginnings.
I think so.
Mm.
While Ragnarok has its unique Norse flavor, the core themes of cosmic collapse and rebirth resonate widely. You can draw some really interesting comparisons.
Like where? What other cultures have similar ideas?
Well, in Hindu mythology, you have the concept of Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga.
It's the final age in a vast cycle of yugas. It's characterized by a decline in righteousness, strife, discord, moral decay. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah, echoes the lead up to Ragnarok.
And at the end of the grand cycle, the universe undergoes dissolution, pralaya, and then recreation. It's deeply cyclical, just like the Norse pattern, the world constantly renewing itself.
Okay, Hinduism. What about, say, the Greeks?
Greek mythology doesn't have quite the same end of the world and rebirth cycle, but you see echoes of a cataclysmic final battle in the Titanomachy.
The war between the Titans and the Olympians. Zeus and his siblings fighting their parents.
Exactly. That huge war established a new divine order, with the Olympians taking over. It reshaped the cosmos, similar to how Ragnarok does, establishing the world as it became known. But without that explicit rebirth from ashes element that's so key to Ragnarok.
So, a change of management, but not a full reset.
Pretty much. And then, of course, in Christianity, you have the apocalypse, the end times.
Right. Armageddon, Judgment Day.
Often depicted as the final battle between good and evil, leading to judgment and a new heaven and new earth. But here's a key difference.
What's that?
The Christian apocalypse is generally seen as a linear, singular end to history, followed by an eternal state. It's not typically presented as part of a recurring cycle like Ragnarok. It's the final, ultimate transformation into something permanent.
Ah, so linear versus cyclical. That's a big difference in philosophy.
Huge difference. So what these comparisons show is that humans everywhere grapple with similar big questions. How will it end? What does destruction mean? Is there hope?
And Ragnarok is the unique Norse answer.
Exactly. A unique interpretation focusing on inescapable fate, but also that radical promise of a fresh start, even after total collapse. Aitro.
So we've journeyed through the icy grip of Fimbulvetra, stood on the shaking cosmic stage of Yggdrasil, met the gods and giants facing their fated ends, endured the fire and flood.
Quite a trip.
What emerges is pretty clear. Ragnarok is maybe the deepest, most complex, certainly one of the most powerful narratives in Norse mythology. It spans the cosmic and the intensely human. It's this profound story about our relationship with the universe, our understanding of time, the nature of life itself, all through these themes of fate, death, war, chaos, destruction, and rebirth.
And that universal message is what really hits home. This isn't just some old story for scholars.
Right.
Ragnarok is a timeless answer to those fundamental questions we all ask. What happens when everything falls apart? How do you find courage when facing the inevitable? What meaning is there in an existence that feels both fated and cyclical,
It's a testament to our ability to imagine not just the end.
but also hope? A purifying renewal, a brighter future emerging from the wreckage.
So the next time you find yourself thinking about an end, maybe the end of a project, a relationship, an era in your life, even just a rough day, remember Ragnarok. Does every ending truly hold the seed of a new beginning? Not just in myth, but in our own lives, our societies.
It's a powerful thought.
What kind of courage does it take to face an inevitable end with dignity, knowing the outcome? And what surprising, fertile new world, what transformed landscape might actually emerge from those ashes?
Leading to something unexpected, maybe even beautiful.
Yeah. That's something worth pondering, isn't it? Makes you think about how we navigate our own cycles of destruction and creation.